welcome back to another week of possible spoilers ahead. As always, since we will be talking about the last week of wrestling, and while I may not be spoiling anything for you, as the name suggests, there could be possible spoilers ahead. Alright, everybody, welcome back to another week. We've had a busy week this week with all our Let's Reacts. It's been great getting to chat with you guys while watching and doing the sound off. We are going to start off this week with the way we start off every week, and that is with something to talk about. We like our controversial topics when we have something to talk about, and this week is no different. Triple H, aka Paul Levesque, is constantly portrayed by the wrestling community and, well, by disgruntled workers as an idiot. I'm going to explain why the opposite is true, and that Trips is really a genius. First and foremost, Triple H is a genius not just in the wrestling industry, but he could very well be in the regular sense of the word as well. But we'll wait for our call back from Mensa to confirm that. First and foremost, no. If you don't already know, we are anything but WWE fanboys here. We all like what we like. With that said, constantly I hear people comment that Triple H could never work and was carried through matches and he was sloppy and boring. I believe that is a present-day bias shadowing memories of a previous time. I wouldn't say Triple H had a bad match, and while his professionalism may be in question, his in-ring ability should not be. Now, of course, we all have bad days, so will concede we can find some bad matches, and please let me know in the comments below some matches you consider bad, and I'll reply whether I feel that they really are as bad as we remember. Chris Jericho recently talked about how Triple H is the one that called their match and called the shots during their famous title switch. So Triple H can carry a match when he wants to. Yes, he put himself in matches and feuds against guys who could work, but that shows his genius by making sure he is working with guys that will not hurt his character's image. Of course, you have your Katie Vicks, but again, it takes a real genius to find a way to stay at the top and even run an entire brand in 2021 after something like that in your closet. Yes, Trips has used political power to stay and gain positions. But in a time of political backstage manipulating, he thrived by hitching himself to the right boat. A genius move. Some will argue that Triple H married the owner's daughter just to hold on to his position and job. I would argue that if that were true, he's a genius for thinking that he could do that and it actually working. But realistically, one would have to be a legit sociopath to marry and father children with someone just for power. I'm not saying it is not possible, but come on. I may not know them personally, but after decades together, they're together because they want to be together. Yes, Triple H used his political power to keep others down and himself at the top. The Golden Shovel was a nickname floated around for him at the time because of how he buried. Is that professional? No. Does it make you want to work with the guy in the early 2000s? No. Does it make him a genius? 100% it does. He learned how to get ahead and stay ahead, then did it. Yes, NXT can be formulaic at times, but does that really take away from how he has provided fans with a top-level brand that honors both the past in professional wrestling as well as working in the current industry? People say that he steals from the indies, but how is that not a genius move to do? He sees what is making the fans happy and puts it on a bigger stage with a bigger budget. Someone does not have to be liked to be a genius. In fact, in most cases, the opposite tends to be true. Triple H has proven that you only need some friends to get and keep you at the top without having to make everyone his friend. In the end, it comes down to one thing. Do you consider being a genius a good thing or a bad thing? Because being a genius doesn't make someone a good person or a bad person. It simply makes them smart enough to know which they need to be. Alright, so that's it for me. That's what my points. I want to hear from you. Let me know down below. Do you think that he is a genius? It's quite simple. Like, do you think what I said is true? I'm not debating whether he's professional. I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time. I'm just pointing out that he is a bit better and a bit smarter than people give him credit for. With that said, we're moving on to Sound On, Sound Off. We are not going to start with Impact, but what we will start with is our good old favorite first show of the week, NWA Power. So these are my favorite favorite things I wrote about the show this week. We'll get to my favorite comments from you later on. Unless you're Adele, it is never good to say someone like you, even if you're the world champ. You boo because you know it's true. It's a great heel response for the crowd. I may not have liked who said it, but I liked it nonetheless. It's perfect for heels to say. Genocide actually made Camille look small for the first time in the NWA. They had a test of strength for what could be the first time on Power, and speaking of firsts, Genocide actually slammed Camille, and neither were giving an inch on the other. Great job in making Genocide look good. Does Jordan Clearwater look like a bit like Ilya Dragunov from Wish.com to anyone else? So Murdoch came out fighting Adonis and Latimer, and the referee just threw the match out, even though they in no way got involved in the match, and that all that happened was that the two competitors, Aldis and Clearwater, were distracted by what was going on. Why would you throw a match out for that? I understand if they tripped one of the competitors in the ring or they got into the ring, but they did none of that. They didn't touch anyone, nothing. Just really bad ending for my taste. Alright, so we got NXT now. So we move on to NXT comments that I had. And it was April 20th, right? Live. Did you think MSK was going to have a great night, seeing as it was 420? And that's kind of their gimmick. Like, Riddle and RVD should have come out with them or something, or they should have done like a treehouse segment if they could have got the rights from Impact for the night. Just saying. There's lots they could have done. Does anyone else hate the new intro theme music to NXT from who I assume is Poppy? Poopy? Poppy Poopy? Kyle O'Reilly coming out looking healthy when he was just carted into a hospital 2 weeks ago. What's up with that? What's up with that? I really don't like Kyle's face promos, as they just seem like it's not coming from a star, and just that dude in your friend group that you all think should be a comedian, but shouldn't be. Yeah, we all know him. So pushing the Indy Hartwell and Dexter Lumis as a legit relationship is like saying Joker and Harley Quinn are a good couple. So the dog walked in, and Frankie Monet walks in to introduce herself to Io Shirai and fangirl over Beth Phoenix. Io got mad and yelled at Frankie Monet about liking cats, and then walks off. I am really looking forward to Io Shirai versus Taya Valkyrie. Come on. Frankie Monet, yeah. Come on. I love that Indy Hartwell trying to get to the microphone in the background of the interview segment while we hear Theory challenge Reed while the Waves just keeping Indy back. It was just, I don't know. The Waves just money right now. They're the most entertaining part of NXT and close to all of wrestling right now. They're at the top for sure. So Sarai has an interesting music mix of like poppy and like not poppy the other thing, but pop and rock music. But her actual music is very Yoshi or Joshi and not very WWE at all. It's just like rehearsed, very. This is what I'm doing, 100% exactly the same steps every time. Sarai does have my favorite submission move in her moveset though, aka the Muda Lock, or as I always call it, the franchise fee. You have to know the history of Jeff Johnson to know the franchise fee. I'm an idiot. So Kushida has it pointed out by the commentators that he is not wearing boots and has taped up feet to further change of his character away from that Marty McFly ripoff he had been doing for ever. I have to say that Cameron Grimes is likely the best character in NXT right now. There's no doubt. The Way may be the funniest thing in wrestling right now and one of the most entertaining, but Cameron Grimes is the best one character there is in NXT in almost all of WWE right now. Actually, all of wrestling probably, I'd say. With that said, let's move on to AEW Dynamite. It was a beautiful looking bridging pinfall attempt by Hangman in the opening match, and smart by Ricky Starks to slap the belly of Hangman to break it up. That was such a great match. Starks looked great with his Liger Bomb, basically floating to the mat with Hangman. It was just perfect. He just like, I don't know how it looked like sometimes you just are amazed at the breaking gravity that some of these wrestlers do. You do have to love that Justin Roberts actually pronounced the question mark part of Trent's name when introducing him. Trent? It was just, I don't know, it was perfect. It was hilarious. First time I heard him do it too, but he might have done it before, but it cracked me up. So MJF talked about how Jericho wrestles guys below him, but claims he gave them the rub when they already were on their way up. Those were actually good points by MJF. Just saying, he made some good points. That's the best thing about a heel promo and a face promo is when they both are making good, actual, accurate points about the other in their promos. The Witch's shot from Shida looked vicious as Conti landed hard, spine first on the turnbuckle. It's a vicious move and I loved it. Jericho gives the second Rosie O'Donnell reference of the night before giving us a really bad rhyming song. Someone of Jericho's caliber should have done better, I'm just saying. The Factory go to hit a wooden chair over Billy until Dustin came out with a bull rope, leading to what I bet is going to be a bull rope match at Blood and Guts. Why else would you bring out the bull rope? Come on. So Nakazawa was wearing a headset exactly like Scott D'Amore, stealing the gimmick from Impact. Not cool, Nakazawa, not cool. Nice diving European uppercut from Christian Cage, but looked like he still learned something from Cesaro. Not stole, he learned something from Cesaro. Because it really had very much Cesaro's uppercut swing that he has. So good. So good. Really great to hear the announcers explain the reasoning behind the time limit difference between the TNT title match and the women's title match earlier, which had a 60-minute time limit earlier in the show. The small things like that, by the explanations of them, go a long way. With that said, that's it for AEW Dynamite. Let's move on to NXT UK from Thursday. I really like seeing that Joe Coffey comes out alone when he is a face, but he has the boys when he is a heel. It's perfect little bits of the character while not showing that much difference with them. The Glasgow send-off and Best of the Bells lead to Joe Coffey getting the pinfall victory while the Gallus boys were out on the outside. I was surprised that he won when the Hunt, basically, I guess they're still a Hunt. Yeah, either, whatever. Primate and Tebow were in control. Like, they were standing up and didn't come in to break the pinfall up on when their guy Eddie Dennis was being pinned. It was just surprising. I don't know. I'm not complaining. It was a good match. Always nice to start with an old school lockup once in a while. That was the second old school lockup to start a match this week on completely different shows. It was just funny. Announcers mentioned that Ginny was trying to recruit Danny Luna. Even though I don't remember that happening, it was still good to give us reasons for the matches happening. Sid Scala gives us an update on Kenny and Amir, with Jordan then walking in for a rematch, demanding again. With Scala says that Kenny is fine with having a rematch. The catch is, the rematch is going to be a loser leaves town match. Who do you think's leaving? Who's going to lose and leave? Shaw Samuels is not lacking in confidence. That is one thing we can all say with certainty. Did they seriously say that Trent Seven is a grandfather? Like, how old is that guy? Like, I know you don't have to be that old to be a grandfather, but how old is he? Now, we tease at the beginning, and we move on to the last show of the week. Impact Wrestling. Black Taurus moves faster than even Carl Anderson should be able to. Someone needs to tell Stryker that Impact didn't give the Good Brothers an opportunity and just backed up a truck of money to them. Oh, good. D'Lo Brown told him. Very good. Glad to see all the subtle hints from Susan showing the Sue Young character could come out at any minute without making it overly obvious. Like, that's the one thing WWE does so poorly, is that they make it obvious what they're going to do. The way that Impact does something, it's just like, because they do things so out of the blue and so out of left field, it's just common that you'll see that. It's just crazy. I don't know. Impact does a great job about it. Rohit Raju is starting to remind me now, with all his new look, of a mix between Aziz Ansari and Howard Wolowitz. He's got the sleaziness of Wolowitz, but he's got, like, I don't know, the swagger of Aziz Ansari. I don't know. It's just something about him. I just see those two mixed together for some reason. So that had to be one of the worst video promos ever, with Trey and his mentor. That was straight out of a bad soap opera school video project. It just was god awful. So after Callis and Omega said goodnight to Swan on the video screen, Swan stood alone, and then the music came on for Moose. Moose is back in the Impact Zone. I marked out a little too much for that. If you want to see how much, go over and look at our Let's React of Impact Wrestling from Thursday. Fire and Flava definitely have my favorite entrance in Impact right now. Who are we kidding it? In all of wrestling right now. All of wrestling. Just, yeah. 1 minute. Okay, I'm good. Finjuice gave us a video promo from Japan. Got to love that the Japan tech that allows them to do that. But the tech in Mexico apparently wasn't good enough for Tessa to do it. After wasting 10 minutes for the Violent by Design entrance, we are a go, and pretty quickly after Eddie gets in the ring. Brandon Toll went to the outside and told both sides to back away. If you are going to go to that length, just get rid of them and kick them out to the back. It made no sense to do that and not kick them out. Just saying. Alright, let's move on. Some poll stuff going on here. So, last week we gave you the results, or what the current results were, for where you thought Samoa Joe should sign. We've updated that now. Not a lot changed, but we're going to give you the full results. AEW got 224 votes with 38.6% of the vote. Impact got 199 with 34.3%. ROH got 123 for 21.2% of the vote. And MLW got 34 votes to give them 5.9% of the vote. So you guys have said Impact or AEW are basically 72, 73% of the vote. Got those two. Right now, we are asking you in a different version of our poll, what are your NXT and AEW viewing habits now that the war is over? Both Live has currently 76%. AEW only has 17.3%. NXT only has 5.3%. Neither has 1.3% of the vote. If you want to change that and let your voice be heard and let us know what is your viewing habits now with AEW and NXT, head over to the Facebook page, like it, follow it so you can get that all the time. I hit my mic. And you can see right on our page, just scroll down, you'll see it, no problem, and vote as you wish, either through letter or by reacting. With that, now that we've got those polls out of the way, we're going to move on to one of the new popular segments we have on the show. Our new popular segment, The Five. Yes, we got graphics this week for The Five. We're moving on up. That's what I'm saying. All right. So these are my 5 matches of the week. So there wasn't a lot to choose from this week. I also haven't watched Progress from yesterday yet. I will be doing that tomorrow, thankfully. These are my 5 matches. So we didn't get that. We got 2 from NXT, 2 from AEW, and 1 from NXT. None from Impact this week. Wasn't the best show this week, but it was more about building to Rebellion, which could change. We should have some Rebellion matches, which we will be doing a live react tonight at 8 o'clock in an hour and a half. So we will be finished here shortly. But that said, here we go. 5. Kyle O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes from NXT, the main event. It was a very entertaining match. I'm not a big fan of Kyle as a face. That said, didn't matter. It was a fun, good match. These guys could go. They fought all over the indies. Great stuff. I think they fought all over the indies, didn't they? Yeah. Whatever. I'm sure they did. Maybe not. I'm going to have to look that up. All right. 4. Kushida versus Oney Lorcan from NXT. The NXT Cruiserweight Championship Open Challenge match. We knew who was going to win, but these two put on a great technical battle. It was fantastic. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It's worth it. When the Cruiserweight title's on the line, it's a good match. Doesn't matter who's in it, because they're smart enough to put good people in it. With that said, that's it for NXT. Let's move on to NXT UK for number 3. Number 3, Mustache Mountain versus Shaw Samuels and Noam Dar, aka the main event from NXT UK. This was a great tag team match. I'm surprised they didn't give Samuels and Dar the match, but they were obviously the foil for the reunited Mustache Mountain to give us that feel-good moment of the week, seeing Mustache Mountain celebrate. Now, that's it for WWE. The top 2 belong to AEW Dynamite. Number 2 was the opener. The opener of AEW is killing it lately. Ricky Starks versus Hangman Page. These guys put on the show that we knew they would put on. It was an amazing match. Well, I won't say amazing. It was a good match. It was a really good match. Hangman, this guy, I like where they're going to delay with what looks like the knee injury here, or they're going to keep building him up, getting him close, pulling him back, getting him close, pulling him back. It's what it seems like until they're ready to give him that moment with the crowd. Once they know they can get that crowd, Hangman's going to beat Kenny. And the longer they keep the belt on Kenny and keep Hangman away from him, the bigger that reaction is going to be, and it's going to be a great moment. Can't wait. Now, matches of the week. Number 1, Hikaru Shida versus Tai Conti with the AEW Women's Championship on the line. Most of us didn't expect Tai Conti to win this, but she has come a long way. I love where she's come so far. I've been a fan of her since NXT. I really like her passion and her emotion in the ring and everything all the emotions she puts out. And that's why she helped push this match with Shida to number one. Neither one of these women can speak English as the first language. Both of them showed great passion in their promos in English, something that AEW is doing a great job at getting their talents to be able to do. Shida's come a long way. She's not perfect yet, no, but I love it. I like what they're doing. They're doing a great job. They push their talent properly, and I'm now looking forward to Shida versus Britt Baker. The women's division is the best it's ever been in AEW. There is no doubt in that. There's no question in that. And I know there are a lot that will agree with me, some will not. So I want to hear from you down below. What are your 5 matches from the past week? I'd love to hear a different opinion. If you think my list is phooey, let me know. If you think I should never use the word phooey again, also let me know. All right, that's it. It's he said, she said, you said time. That's right. This is where we go over your comments, my favorite comments from you each week. If you want to have your comments featured on the podcast in this segment every week, anytime you see one of our posts anywhere on Facebook, comment, and we could use it. We like to use our best comments, so saying, yeah, or cool, it was great, probably not going to get picked. But we still appreciate those comments nonetheless. That said, let's get started with first show of the week, NWA Power. Elmer F. from the Coca-Cola Pro Wrestling Group is back again this week to give their thoughts on Power by stating, NWA Power's ending was definitely a surprise. I'm glad that Beat Down didn't go on forever and get ridiculous. I have to say, I'm impressed with Genocide's showing in her match against Camille. She surely seems to have her act together to go far. If the new team of Storm and Sauronaro do go the comedy route, I'm hoping they save it for a good pop about the middle or end of their matches. As for Austin Idol's client, his win was not a popular one in the least, but it makes sense that a wrestler his size could pull it off. If Melina does swerve Rosa and join Strictly Business, it would make for some great booking. Do I think it's likely? With Melina, it's very possible. My overall view of episode 25 is that it really delivered the goods. Thank you for that great comment, Elmer F. We love the detail you give and give us an answer to almost every question we ask every week. We love it. Now, our Sound Off regular Jamie T had this to say about the show in our Inner Circle group. The Pulp Exchange on this show was one of the best promo interview slots I've seen in a long time. Great episode altogether, though. The best episode of NWA Power since it returned. I'm not going to disagree. It was a great episode. They had a lot go on. I hated the finish, though. I will say it again. I hated the finish. All right. So, with that said, we're going to move on to, well, what else would we move on to after NWA Power was NXT. So your comments on NXT, we had Matthew S. in the Wednesday Night Wrestling group give his answers to our questions this week by saying MSK is great doing whatever. They are actually my favorite tag team at the moment. Grimes is finally getting the spotlight he absolutely should have been getting. He is good in the ring and his comedy stuff is pure gold. I don't like the new Kyle. Something just seems off. Yep. We all know, we've all seen the memes of the Wish.com Orange Cassidy. Now we move on to Anthony T in the Everything Pro Wrestling group, giving his thoughts on the Sarai vs. Starks match, Zoe Starks, stating, I thought the Sarai match was too back and forth. My thought is, if you're high on Zoe Starks, that's fine, but you have Sarai go up against somebody else where it's maybe not a squash match, but one more sized than it was. But more one-sized, I think it meant one-sided, than it was. That's what I was thinking about that match. It was really weird. I don't know. Like, Zoe Starks, I get it, they're high on her. They are. But you should not be putting this this new Japanese wrestler when we've had all these Japanese wrestlers like Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai coming in strong out of the gate with WWE. And then you have Shirai come in her first match in NXT, and it's a back and forth with Zoe Starks, who still looks like a generic jobber even though she's getting pushed. Like, I just don't get it. But that's now Darren A. We're going to have a third comment because we did get some really good comments. So again, we will move on to more comments if we get some really good ones that we just can't not include. And that included Darren A's in the NXT UK, NXT 205 Live Worlds Collide group, giving his thoughts on the new NXT theme as well as Kushida's new look by saying, I figured that NXT would be getting a new theme song ever since I saw the logo look different last week. Poppy and NXT do make a good collaboration. I disagree. Plus, even though I didn't see it brought up, I don't think I'm ready yet to see Kushida compete as a barefooter. I'm often used to seeing him in a denim vest and anything that's Back to the Future related, even with shoes or boots on his feet. I agree. It's just obvious that they're getting away from the Back to the Future stuff. I don't know if that's like NBC Universal owns Back to the Future, so the fact that NXT on USA, part of NBC Universal, can't, like, you'd think, right? So those were great comments about NXT this week. A lot of people had a lot to say about it. We're going to move on now to AEW Dynamite. Helps if I actually bring up the graphics for AEW Dynamite. There we go. So, Adam B. on our main post gave his thoughts on the show by stating, I was really hoping Ricky got the win. He's a star and seems to be stuck on the YouTube shows. They really need to disband Team Taz, especially if they're just going to lose all the time. I have no issue with Alex getting more time because Penta needs a mouthpiece. Hopefully Britt takes the belt off of Shida. She's had it for an eternity, and Britt is really the face of the division. Liked seeing the Wardlow get some mic time. Jericho's promo was clearly unscripted and was all over the place. Kinda wish it was a few minutes shorter just to have more time for Darby versus Jungle Boy. Another excellent main event. Love seeing the more aggressive, heelish side of Darby. Thought the show was a bit of a step down from last week. Good, but not great other than the final match. Fair assessment. So Christopher T in the AEW Dynamite group let us know that the show wasn't as good for everyone as we thought by saying, rivalry between the Nightmare Family and Factory is a nuisance. Can't leave Big Swole out of the championship picture yet. Swole. All matches were satisfactory. Well, everyone has different tastes, right? That's why we like to feature all the different comments. So even if you don't agree with us and what we're saying in our posts and in the sound off, feel free to disagree with us, and we might even include it. We want to show all viewpoints. And that was a great example. Christopher T, great. I don't agree with you. Like Big Swole, come on. Who wants Big Swole in the championship picture? That's it. All right. So we didn't get anything for NXT UK this week. Not a lot of people talking about NXT UK. It was a great show. Like, it was a really great show. So that said, we'll just skip over and head on over to Impact Wrestling. So Mitch R. in the Wednesday Night Wrestling group posed a great question regarding the X Division match at Rebellion, asking, why is Chris Bay not on the card? And why is the X Division title match not an Ultimate X match? As regulars of the Sound Off know, I've been asking that for a couple weeks now. I've been saying I thought it was going to become one. It seemed like it with the people that they were involving. So, obviously, maybe not, because the Triple Threat just like could do the PD promo. That said, I think it's actually because of the studio. I don't know if Ultimate X is suitable for the Ultimate X match, but only Impact knows, right? Andre T in the Minutes to Bell Time group gave his thoughts on Impact this week by saying, remember when Shera was a dancing, fun-loving babyface? Impact might not have a huge name stars, but they have a lot of good talent. Some stories can be like, oh really? Is it me, or does Trey Miguel and Ricochet look like they're related? The one thing that never disappoints is the X Division. X Division's always one of the highlights. It's the best wrestling, right? The X Division and Impact is like now the opening match in Dynamite. Like, I'm almost ready to call that if they don't have a good match on the opener of Dynamite, it's a disappointment, right? Or if an X Division match on Impact isn't good. It's disappointing. All right, those were my favorite comments from you this week. So, as I said, we are about an hour and 20 minutes away from the start of Let's React Impact Rebellion tonight. Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann. As I just said, we are having our Let's React tonight. We should go live around 7:55 actually, here on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitch. If you want your comments seen right over here, you can by commenting over on Twitch. I will respond to any comments I see over on our Facebook as well, and on YouTube. They just won't get featured in the video as well. So, we'll see you guys shortly. I'm starving. My wife brought me some food from her friends. I'm going to eat it and see you guys in about an hour. Thanks again. Comment down below what you guys think. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow. Do it all. See you guys.